Hello and welcome to Jazini Insights. Apapa, Oshodi, Apapa has redeemed. What a coincidence. What is even in a name? Do you remember these two places, Oshodi and Apapa, the most chaotic places in Lagos? Oshodi and Apapa looks like you will always meet hold up in those places, and hectic movements like this must not work in any place that is called Oshodi and Apapa. And whether it's a coincidence or what, I don't know, one man bears that name. And that man happened to find himself or be in Labour Party, causing hold up to us that want Nigeria to move on through this party. As if the one Abure is doing is not enough. Apapa leave Oshodi, can't resume duty. Apapa has resumed duty. They feel that the judgment of the court, meanwhile, it is refreshing to see a page in that judgment of the court, because earlier, these people understand the power of narratives, and they came online and been doing their media onslaught to say that the court reinstated Abure. I was disappointed by the judgment flying up and down, but a closer look at the CTC shows that there is hope. Long-awaited CTC is out, and the page 47 everybody is referencing beamed a little bit of hope. Even though you cannot trust the judgment of the Supreme Court, even now that we are rejoicing, I still cannot trust them, because they are gaming. The way they play this game is they give you this one and you rejoice. Hey, tomorrow they will bring another one and knock off whatever you are rejoicing over. But for now, there is still something in that judgment that can give you hope, that you can hold on to say, if tomorrow these people are still hitting their head like a dying snake, you can hold on to it to still survive, to still survive their attack, because they are not giving up. And they went on a media onslaught to deceive the public over the judgment of the courts. And now that there seems to be a portion of the judgment, the penultimate page of the 48th page judgment, I've searched for that judgment to see the full copy. It's not yet in public domain. It's copies in the hands of people. Maybe by tomorrow we should be able to see the full judgment. But in the 48th page judgment, the party leadership referenced page 47. In that page, the judgment struck out Abure's counter-appeal on the grounds that there is deceit in it, and that they should obey the workings, the rule, the constitution of any party, considering tenure, duration, and how the party works. And again, he went ahead to also say that the appellants, the people that brought the case to court, have a case, and that their appeal is allowed. As in the matter they brought to court, is allowed to fly. I don't have the copy. I'm just giving an abridged version. So there's a little bit of hope from this portion of that judgment.
So by the time you finish listening to this, all the manipulations and the lies would take flight. The three issues submitted for determination, and I'm quoting, are hereby jointly resolved in favor of the appellants. And the appellants are distinguished Senator Esther Nenade Osman and distinguished Senator Darlington Wokocha. It goes further. In summary, both the trial court and the court below had no jurisdiction to entertain the suit of this first respondent. Whitman relief, and first respondent is Abure. Whitman relief, as they both rightly observed, was inserted as relief number 5, as though it was an appendage. Consequent upon the foregoing, the decisions of both trial courts and the court below, recognizing Barrister Julius Abure as the national chairman of the first respondent, are hereby set aside, and suit number FHC is hereby struck out for want of jurisdiction. In the same vein, the first respondent's cross appeal in appeal number being an offshoot of the same judgment of the court below is hereby dismissed. Before I am done, may I admonish political parties and their members to endeavor to always allow their constitutions rules, regulations, and guidelines to guide them in choosing their officers as well as candidates. That way, incessant internal rifts, which always find their way to court, will be reduced. If the constitution of a political party has prescribed duration for tenure of office of an officer, such officer should be humble enough to live at the expiration of the tenure. In the final analysis, I find this appeal to be meritorious and is hereby allowed. Parties shall bear their respective course. Appeal allowed in very, very clear sentence.
And there was an attempt to manipulate these judgments from the help of certain ministers. You know, the ministers that can use both face to change some things or that have judiciary as their next door chicken pen where they can cage certain judges and get certain kinds of judgment from them. I learned they were trying to manipulate this judgment in such a way that by the time the CTC comes out, whatever was agreed in court would have been altered. But I think security agencies were also alerted to watch out if they would do something like that. So now that the judgment came out and they see that Abure might be losing the fight, Apapa leave Oshodi, come Labour Party Secretariat. Apapa resumed duty and is threatening fire and brimstone. The man is threatening fire and brimstone. He is threatening fire and brimstone, including arrest of anybody that tries to do anything. And today, the National Working Committee of Esther Usman, Nanadi Usman, Peter Obi, Alex Oti, and who is who in Labour Party was in their meeting. And together they marched to INEC to go and present what the National Working Committee of the party has adopted to sustain the leadership of the caretaker committee chairman, Nanadi Usman, such that in the coming days they will be able to implement everything that needs to be done for the party to function fully. I hope they will sustain this momentum, because what has happened is that they slept. That was one of the reasons Kenneth Okonkwo was also shouting that the party is not doing what they are supposed to do, and the enemies of the party are cashing in on their lackadaisical attitude and destroying more things. I hope they will not leave any stone unturned this time. I also hope they will not create loopholes for these people to come in. They have to also understand the power of narratives. They have to understand the power of being on the offensive. One of the reasons Natasha Akpoti, Senator, our distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti, has not been drowned by these elements is because she understands the power of speaking up. She has been speaking up, and each time she speaks, she raises more dust, she reveals more secrets, and that is why they are giving her a gagging order now to say, don't grant interviews, even though they say it's between her and Akpabio, but we know who the target is, because Akpabio has not been granting interviews. He is the person provocating, he is the one causing trouble, and the person that they have targeted understands that if I keep quiet, these people will swallow me. And she has been giving it fire to fire, back to back. And that gagging order from Justice Bintan Yako, I laugh. Does that name ring a bell? You people know now that somebody, one man that they have been detaining for years now, had to teach them their own laws and say, abide by your own laws. We will be watching what she will be doing in the coming days concerning Senator Natasha Akpoti case. Because it looks like it's some kind of cases they also assigned to her. We are beaming our light on Bintan Yako to see how she will handle Natasha's case, because she has started. They have started by telling her not to grant any interview. Imagine. Not to talk about my matter again, because they will take our rights and take even fundamental rights. Rights that came with us from birth. Rights that God gave us. That goes until they take even inherent rights. Rights that you are born with. That if they do everything, they shouldn't touch those ones. Just like rights to move around, rights to breathe, rights to eat, rights to decide who you meet, who you associate with, rights to decide where you go to and how you go there. They take all those rights from us and they say we should not talk. I don't even want to enter the Natasha case now, because that's a full topic of its own. That a state government will also deprive a whole state because of one woman. This patriarchy that they brought into governance, the way they say you're a woman, you should not talk, shut up there. And you will just be doing like this. I'm a woman, I'm not supposed to talk. So when you come into the Senate, you should also not talk because men are here. Men are talking, you should not talk. Because you went there to one seat. So, we are watching the Natasha case on Plasma TV. And to you, the Nigerian person, keep shouting, keep talking. You think they are not hearing. These few days, as people are talking about the judiciary and everything, that could still be why they didn't tamper significantly. They didn't tamper with that CTC. So, because there was this speculation that they wanted to, it was on the paper, on the news, that there are some ministers who want to help them achieve that. So as these people are not happy, it's like Labour Party is trying to find their feet again. They're not happy. They go and wake up their mom, their mom, their big masquerade, their, what do I call it? Apapa. He has even taken ownership of the party secretariat and threatening brimstone. What makes them feel like Apapa will fight dirty than Abure? After all, he's still in that, in their Lagos office, they started seeing juju and some of that stuff. They are not giving up. Oh. These people are not giving up. Maybe Abure is not giving it bumper to bumper the way they want. They have gone to wake up the Oga Patapata of their oracle, Apapa. And you know Apapa and Arabambi work together. You know, Arabambi, Abure, and Apapa are taking turns. But if Labour Party and the Obi group, OT group, Nanadi Usman group will maintain the momentum that they put up today, I think they might survive. So that we can start. Now, for those people who are saying that Peter Obi is going into any coalition, today he confirmed that there is no coalition, that he has not even spoken with any party. RSOT is telling Julius Abure, who is claiming that the Labour Party does not function like every other party, that they can stop, they are not like every other party, they can start from the top to institute leadership. Whereas it is the other way around, where you will do ward primaries and from there to the national primaries. How do you get delegates? It's from this lower cadre, they will now fill up the organogram of the party. But Julius Abure and his group are moving ahead of every other procedure by their own workings, their own generations, things they generated for themselves, rules they generated for themselves.
It happened. The process of setting up a national working committee starts from the ward. You go through ward congresses, local government congresses, state congresses, zonal congresses, and then you now elect delegates that will go for the national convention. You cannot start, if you want to build a 3-story building, you cannot start from the 3rd floor. You must start from foundation. So, and I'm sure that our experienced caretaker committee members will do the right thing at the appropriate time. They are not interested in leading the party. All they are interested in is midwifing those that will lead the party. And I know we heard this discussion. They don't have any interest other than ensuring that our party remains strong.
Alex Oti had to tell him today, if you want to build 3-story buildings, start from the foundation. It might also interest you that Kenneth Okonkwo was spotted in that meeting. And the question is he coming back? Does he have faith now in the party that they can find their feet back? I hope so. I hope that they're able to find their feet back. But the way my instinct works, it still feels like there should not be any rejoicing yet. And for those people who have been saying that Obi does not do anything, he has been working behind the scenes, and the results just showed today. And we still encourage him to do more to ensure that the victory they are getting now is sustained. Because Nigerians feel so heartbroken to see that every labor that has been put in place to ensure that Labour Party forms a viable opposition was thrown into the thin air after the elections. Supreme Court said that the appeal is resolved in the interest of who brought the appeal to court, which is Nanadi Usman. Julius Abure's group is claiming that Nanadi Usman lacks legality. I hope the Labour Party will also look into this area. The strategy they are using is the strategy of being on the offensive. And now, Peter Obi and his group have to be on the offensive, have to be the one on the offensive, holding tight and not letting go. It's not time to go and sleep. It's time to put your foot on the ground and work for this victory. Even if tomorrow somebody is coming up to manipulate the judgment of the court, if you put your foot down and do the necessary things, they might not succeed. From the tone of the judgment.
I wanted you to land. So if there are issues as to who has a rightful entrance or ownership or possession of this house, and we go to court to say, I need to get the key, and Mr. Edu say, no, you cannot get it, and the court of appeal say, Shehu, you have the rightful ownership of the key, take the key. Isn't the court telling me that I am the rightful occupant or owner of that house? Is that not what the court has said?
Which court?
I'm trying to put a clarity so that our viewers can understand, because some of these legal issues could be confusing, and that's why we are here to break it down. And I'm saying that substantially, what the Court of Appeal said is that Julius Abure is recognized as the national chairman because the Supreme Court has decided now that he said the Supreme Court said that is doesn't have any basis and been struck out. Now
the Supreme Court said that even though you already decided that matter, but you shouldn't have imported that reference.
Let us not go far. Let us just stay on the fact that as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, the decision of the both trial and the court below recognizing Barrister Julius Abure as a national chairman of the first responder, which is the Labour Party, are hereby set aside and is hereby struck out for want of jurisdiction. Yes. In the same vein, the first responder, the Labour Party's cross appeal, being an offshoot of the same judgment of the court below, is hereby dismissed.
Let me tell you what.
Just a moment, sir. Before I am done, this is a judgment and this is not an obiter.
Yes.
He said, may I admonish political parties and their members to endeavor to always allow their constitution, rules, regulations, and guidelines to guide them in choosing their officer as well as candidate. That way, incessant internal rifts, which always find their way to court, will be reduced. If the constitution of a political party has prescribed duration for tenure of office on an officer, such officer should be humble enough to leave at the expiration of the tenure. Who do you think the Supreme Court is talking about?
Did not mention.
Who do you think is the Supreme Court is?
The advice is for political parties generally. But let me tell you, in this instance, that does not apply to the Labour Party. The Supreme Court has said that political parties should follow their constitution. And by the constitution of the Labour Party, according to what the Supreme Court said, yes, there was a tenure created in 2019. That tenure was supposed to expire in 2023. The neck of the party made a decision for the extension of that tenure. And that tenure was now supposed to expire on the 9th June 2024. But before that, a convention held. A convention of the party
that was not totally agreed upon by everyone. How do you?
All the organs of the party are in support of that.
The neck has the authority to set the agenda. What is the structure of holding congresses of the party? Do you start from the top or you start from the bottom?
By the constitution of Labour Party. The ward, the local government, and the state, they have a 3-year tenure. Now, why national officers have 4-year tenure? Their tenure do not end at the same time. So by the time the tenure of the national officers are ending, the tenure of the states, the local government, the wards are still subsisting. So they don't hold it at the same time. There is no law, there is no rule that says
so you are saying that all those structures still have their tenure intact.
By the time that
some people are very terrible and they can be hardened in criminality. See manipulation. See the way this man is manipulating the court judgment and saying that a judgment that is read in a case concerning you is not for you. And saying that a judgment that is read in a case concerning Labour Party does not apply to Labour Party for whom the case is being read. Even if we are saying it is for other political parties, the reference point is you. Because when matters arise, courts make the judgment from whoever it started from before it ripples down other cases, which will be quoting that judgment. So will you now exonerate yourself from where the judgment started? Even if he's also saying that the tenure of the lower cadre of the leadership of the party subsists for 3 years, and that of the chairman for 4 years, does it now mean you should act anyhow? Is that why he's saying there is no law? Let me remind this man that there are unwritten laws that everybody abide by and follow, even when they are not written. Does that mean that the party can go ahead and behave anyhow. The extra 1 year extension for chairmans would be for them to tidy up things, to introduce or inform the next leadership of the party, because somebody has to conduct the affairs of the party until another leadership comes into play. It doesn't mean that they don't have organogram or that they don't follow these unwritten laws of parties where they have to conduct the primaries from the lower cadre of leadership before it gets to the highest cadre of leadership. When these people manipulate the laws to suit themselves, I can only call them, call it what my baby will call it. He will say criminals.